Hello, welcome to Smash Hit Sports. A little bit different type of podcast today. So, just a solo show, no guest. We're going to do live reactions, questions from the audience. I am live on TikTok, so if there are any questions there, I'm going to listen to that as well. So, going forward, I'm going to put out, a little invite, come hang out, we'll talk some ball. That being said, the best way to help this show, the first thing we got to do before we get into any of the crazy college football shit that happened this weekend, hit that subscribe button. It's be a friend, tell a friend. I think we're almost up to 100 subscribers on Spotify. We're closing in on 600 subscribers on YouTube. I would love to crush those numbers out of the water this football season. But ladies and gentlemen, college football week 3 was nuts. We had legitimately some of the best games in the noon slate, the afternoon slate, the evening slate. Every big game delivered. It was absolutely incredible. We had Georgia Tech, Clemson. Georgia Tech 55 yards walk-off field goal to win it. Absolutely insane. You had Georgia, Tennessee come down to the wire in overtime. Tennessee had a chance to win it in regulation with a field goal. It's missed. High-scoring fourth quarter, an incredible football game. And then you have Notre Dame and Texas A&M in the night game. An unbelievable game, like 80 total points scored. Texas A&M wins on a last-second touchdown to win by 1 against Notre Dame. You had a block punt return for a touchdown. You had a kickoff return for a touchdown that was called back. I mean, it was an unbelievable weekend of college football. I cannot get enough. Now, I'm a Notre Dame fan, all right? My team is 0-2. Does college football suck for me right now? Yes. However, I'm not going to let the fact that it sucks for me ruin it for everybody else. So, before we get into the listener questions, we're going to let the TikTok audience build a little bit because we did just go live, but we are going to go through my top 25. So we're gonna do a little magic here, share the screen, see if we can't get it to look nice and even. Here we go. All right, so my college football top 25 headed into week 4. I want to talk through each of these teams because I do think it's important to talk through my process, unlike what AP voters might think. So, number 1, Ohio State. I think they have been the best looking team from start to finish. They have the roster that goes along with that, blue chip. I mean, just an unbelievable, talented group. They have the coach that's shown that they can do it before. I believe in this Ohio State roster 100%. I don't think there's much of an argument with them at 1. You could argue a couple of the other teams, but they are in that upper tier. And number 2, I have Penn State. Penn State is absolutely outstanding, and I understand that James Franklin cannot win the big one. However, the big one has not come yet. It is still here. It is still in front of him. And I hate to break it to you, I think he can do it because nobody can win the big one until they do. Dabo couldn't win the big one until he did, right? Ryan Day couldn't win the big one until he did. Kirby Smart couldn't win the big one until he did, right? So I believe in this Penn State team. I have them at 2. Oregon at 3. I am higher on Oregon now than I was at the start of the season, absolutely. They have looked incredible. Now, have they really played anybody through 3 weeks? No. They do have a huge road test coming up against Penn State. I'm excited for that game. But until we get there, I'm not sure what we're going to see out of the Ducks. So I'm interested to see how that looks. However, through 3 weeks, they have looked absolutely incredible. And number 4, I have LSU. And I understand that some people are going to want LSU to be higher. However, they looked like shit against Louisiana Tech. They looked like shit against Florida. If DJ Lagway doesn't throw 5 interceptions, they still only won by 10. Garrett Nussmeier has 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions through 3 weeks of football. That's not good enough. I understand that LSU has a good resume, but I need to see more before I'm willing to put them up into that top 3. 4 is still fine. I don't think LSU fans should be upset at 4. And number 5, I have Georgia. Georgia is an unbelievably talented football team. The question has always been, is Gunnar Stockton the guy? And he looked like the guy against Tennessee. Now, going on the road, Georgia has had Tennessee's number. They've won, I think, 9 straight games against the Volunteers. And they're a damn good football team. I have Georgia at 5. I have them above Miami. This game, Georgia went on the road and beat a very, very, very tough Tennessee team. Miami beat USF at home. I understand Miami has a win against Notre Dame. That's also a great win. Don't get me wrong. I still have questions about Miami. Now, they do play Florida this week. I'm excited for that game. But I'm very interested to see, how everything plays out with Miami. So I have Miami at 6. I think that's an appropriate spot for them. I need to see more from Miami before I'm willing to vault them into my top 5. Texas at 7. I'm very torn on Texas because they were my preseason number one team. I think that they are an unbelievably talented roster that are currently being held back by their quarterback, which is not something that I would say at 3 weeks into the season, but God damn it, that's the reality of what we've got. So I'm going to keep them at 7. However, I have a lot of nerves about Texas. They need to show me something before they play Oklahoma in the Red River Shootout, or I think they're going to be in trouble in that game because Oklahoma has looked damn good. Texas Tech at 8. I know that I am significantly higher than pretty much everybody else in the country on Texas Tech. However, they play Utah this week. I think they beat Utah. I think they established themselves as the best team in the Big 12 this season. I am in love with Baron Morton. This is a damn good team, and I'm really excited to watch them continue to show why spending money in college football works, because they have a quote-unquote $25 million roster. They're playing like it. They look damn good. At number 9, I have Texas A&M. Marcel Reed looks like the guy, a full offseason to really claim that quarterback 1 spot, and he has absolutely claimed it and run with it. They got him wide receiver help. They've looked outstanding offensively. I think Mike Elko gets that defense right because at the end of the day, that's what Mike Elko has built his teams around, is that defense. So I do think that improves. Texas A&M at 9, they're a damn good-looking team. Iowa State at 10, I'm not going to knock Iowa State for playing an ugly game against Iowa, because if you have watched the Cyhawk literally the last 20 goddamn years, that game is ugly. It's always ugly. It will continue to be ugly. It will forever be ugly. That's just what the Cyhawk is. I'm not going to judge Iowa State on that game. I think they're a damn good team. Tennessee at 11. This is the highest that I have a one-loss team. I still think that Tennessee is very good. They went toe-to-toe with Georgia, took them to overtime. They lost because of their kicker. They're still very good. I feel confident about Tennessee and Joey Aguilar. I think they are a playoff caliber team, and so I have them ranked in my top 12. Illinois at 12. This weekend, a huge game against Indiana. Super excited for this one. Luke Altmaier's looked good. Man, Luke Altmaier has gotten better every year. 3 years ago, was not impressed. 2 years ago? 2 years ago, I was not impressed with Luke Altmaier. And last year happened. He looked better. This year, he looks even better. I'm excited for Illinois. I think that this game against Indiana is going to be a very important game for the top of the Big Ten. Florida State at 13. I understand that a lot of people have them higher for beating Alabama. However, I'm not as high on Alabama. Therefore, Florida State's down a little bit for me. That's no disrespect to the Noles. I still think they can win the ACC. It's just I have them down just a skosh. Georgia Tech at 14. When you play football the way that Georgia Tech plays football and you establish your will on another man against his will, God damn it, that is so fun to watch. The Georgia Tech should get every guy who loves football just a feeling in his loins that you just can't replace. Because what Georgia Tech does is they just beat the piss out of you. Play after play after play. Haynes King is a sledgehammer. What they do offensively, what they do defensively, they establish themselves at the line of scrimmage and they beat the absolute shit out of you for 4 straight quarters. I love the way that Georgia Tech plays football. I love the way that Brent Key coaches football, the way that he managed the end of that game. Absolutely incredible. Love Georgia Tech. We're going to rotate the camera a little bit here. That way we could see 19 and 24. Number 15, Oklahoma. I understand that some Oklahoma fans are going to be upset by this ranking. I can understand why, because Oklahoma, by all means, has kind of looked like a top 25 team. A college football playoff team. That being said, with Oklahoma, I don't value the Michigan win like a lot of people value the Michigan win. You'll see, Michigan is not my top 25. I don't think they're good enough to be ranked. They were a 7-5 team last year that has a true freshman quarterback, and Sharon Moore is their head coach. I just don't think that they are that good. Sorry. It is what it is. So that devalues Oklahoma a little bit. And it's not that I think less of Oklahoma. It's that I think less of Michigan. Therefore, Oklahoma at 15. I feel okay with that ranking. They could go into the Red River Shootout undefeated. They beat Texas. They're a top 10 team. Like that, there's not going to. So I think the ball is in Oklahoma's court there. Utah at 16. I'm very, 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 very excited for Texas Tech. Utah, Baron Morin, Devin Dampier. Devin Dampier looks damn good, man. He looks damn good. This Utah last year, I think, was just an absolute aberration for Utah. Like they are not that bad. And I trusted Kyle Whittingham. He's a damn good coach. So Utah at 16. Ole Miss is 17. I don't know what to feel about this Ole Miss team because they just beat the shit out of bad opponents. And like that is why Ole Miss and Missouri are right next to each other. They beat the shit out of bad opponents, and then it's like, all right, let's wait until SEC play. Now, I understand that Ole Miss play Kentucky and they play Arkansas, so they have gotten a start on their SEC journey, which is why I have Ole Miss ahead of Mizzou. However, I'm not super high on Arkansas, not super high on Kentucky. That's why I have Ole Miss down at 17. You could argue them higher. Vanderbilt at 19. I don't know if I believe in Vanderbilt. I don't know. Is South Carolina bad? Because South Carolina is Lenore Sellers and Nick Harbor and Stewart, and that's the entire team. Like their interior defensive line doesn't exist. Their offensive line is bad to worse. Like I didn't trust South Carolina coming into the year. I don't know how to feel about Vanderbilt because they look good, and I know that I can't logo watch. But at the same time, they had an unbelievable season last year that everybody was super raved about, and they were 7-5, right? So is this Vanderbilt team as good or better than last year's Vanderbilt team? I don't know the answer to that question yet. So that's why I have him at 19. TCU 20, Josh Hoover's a fucking problem. He's a fucking problem for the Big 12. He's a problem for every team that plays against him. He is so good. The quarterback play in the Big 12 right now is the best in the country. Between Sawyer Robertson, Josh Hoover, Baron Morton, Devin Dampier, the quarterback play in the Big 12 is better than any quarterback play like across the conference as a whole in the country. Leave out Avery Johnson because he's bad. Louisville 21. Jeff Brom refuses to die. I love what this Louisville team does. They are sleepers, and I don't know if you want to call them sleepers in the ACC. They could win the ACC. Like that, their death taxes Jeff Brom having a well-coached football team. I have Washington at 22. I am high on Damon Williams. I'm high on this Washington team. I'm high on Jed Fish. I understand that most people will not have them in their top 25. However, this is me I am pre-showing my hand here with Washington at 22. Alabama at 23, lower than what the AP poll has them as. I understand that they have won 2 consecutive games. I cannot get the fact that they looked like absolute dog shit against Florida State. It's not that Florida State looked that good. It's that Alabama looked awful. They looked terrible. So Alabama at 23, Indiana at 24. You beat the shit out of 3 god-awful football teams. Now, granted, the Old Dominion win kind of looks better now that they beat the piss out of Virginia Tech, but you've played nobody. I can't put you above 24. It is what it is. Probably the most controversial ranking on this list, Notre Dame at 25. Notre Dame could go 10-2. They go 9-3. If Notre Dame goes 9-3, are they a top 25 team? I would think so. Therefore, I'm predicting that Notre Dame is going 9-3. I'm keeping them in my top 25. I think that they could potentially run the table here. A 10-2 Notre Dame team. I am a Notre Dame fan. A 10-2 Notre Dame team should not get in the playoffs this season. Their 2 best opponents, they lost to them both. It is what it is. Like you can't do that and expect to make the college football playoff, especially if you do not have a conference title to hold yourself accountable. Notre Dame does not. Therefore, if they go 10-2, I don't think they should make the playoff. Now, I think they lose one of the USC or Arkansas games. So we'll see. We may not even have to worry about having the conversation about a 10-2 Notre Dame. So that's my top 25. Let me know what questions you got in the comments on the YouTube. Let me know what you feel. And remember, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Next, we're going to go through the bottom 25. And I apologize for the people who are on TikTok because you're not going to be able to see this because I cannot change TikTok backgrounds in the middle of a live, which is maybe the most annoying TikTok feature. I'll say it. It's so goddamn annoying. But that being said, you'll just have to visualize the bottom 25 with me if you are on TikTok. If you are on YouTube, I'm working on opening it now, and this is me being a terrible podcast host and not having it ready. But here we go. This is my bottom 25. We're going to start with the top 2. It's very easy to identify the top 2 in a bottom 25. It is UCLA. It is Virginia Tech. They fired their head coaches. They're 0-3. They're terrible. It is disgusting. Number 3 is Kansas State, just because you had expectations and you have now shit your pants, and it is just so bad and it's so ugly. It's so gross. You've lost to Arizona. You've lost to Army. You've lost to Iowa State. Like, it gross, disgusting. Oklahoma State at 4. Like, you send Mike Gundy off into the sunset. Adios, brother. It's been good. It's been fun. You had a hell of a run. Go be like the assistant athletic director of Cowboy morale or something. That's number 4. Number 5 in the college football bottom 25 is me. It's me. Why? Because my predictions were wrong. I picked Clemson to win the national title this year. They are dog shit. My team is 0-2. I'm in the bottom 25. I also, for those of you who follow me for my college football stuff and don't know about my NFL fandom, I'm a Bengals fan. My quarterback's toe is fucked. So I have a fucked toe, and Clemson, who is my team I picked to win it all, is ass, and also the team I root for is ass. So that's triple ass. Therefore, I am in the top 5 of the bottom 25. Number 6, Billy Napier, your quarterback threw 5 interceptions and your ass. Number 7 is West Virginia, which I want to say this. I don't think that West Virginia is good, but winning the backyard brawl is good. So shout out to West Virginia. Charlotte at 8, Ball State at 9, Troy at 10, Northwestern 11. Northwestern, there's something that just rubbed me the wrong way about you not letting Tulane wear jerseys to commemorate the Katrina thing. So Northwestern 11, Sam Houston State at 12, haven't won a game yet. Marshall is ass. UMass is ass. Oregon State 0-3. Akron, Georgia Southern. Mark Pope. Kentucky's bad, and I don't know what to do with Kentucky. Georgia State at 19, San Jose State at 20, Eastern Michigan 21, Western Michigan 22, Wyoming 23, Kennesaw State 24, and then Clemson at 25. They're the bottom of the bottom 25 because I do think that they can salvage their season. The problem with Clemson is that they were a team that had national title hopes. They had the most returning production of any college football team in the country. And now you were sitting here 1-2. Your college football, your playoff hopes aren't dead because you can still win the ACC. However, you're fighting an uphill battle, but I think more importantly, the dynasty is over. The dynasty is over. And that is what is so hard to take. So, that's the bottom 25. We are 17 minutes into this. So now going to answer some questions from listeners. First off, I have a community on Instagram. It's free to join. Would highly, highly, highly recommend joining that Instagram group. One, it's free. 2, you get all of my bets and stuff. I let you know about upcoming content. I ask for, most importantly, the best thing about the group is I ask for your guys' opinion on my content. And then if there is something that you want to see, I do the research and I make a video about it. So I could not recommend joining on Instagram. I will post a story there to join the group, but it's free to join. Go check it out. I cannot recommend it enough. And we're 100+ strong in there. It's a lot of fun. So go check that out. That being said, we have some community questions. So I'm going to pull those up because we're going to stop sharing here. It's something that I wish that I had a better way to do this, truthfully. But we're live on Riverside, and Riverside does a good job. I mean, it is what it is. They support the program. All right. So I'm sharing the questions on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, you can see the questions. Again, join the group, ask your questions, but I will give the appropriate people their shout outs because they deserve it. And, they build a great community. So Infernal Aspect asks, potential that Vanderbilt could be a dark horse into the SEC championship and overall playoff picture. Another one would be, do we think the gap between Group of 5 and Power 5 is beginning to close as more schools are starting to handle NIL better? And I think the group of, I'm gonna go backwards here. I'm gonna answer the Group of 5, Power 5 question first. I think now that NIL exists and the transfer portal exists in the facet that it does, you don't have guys who are willing to wait 2 or 3 years in order to get playing time on big universities. What does that mean? It means that rosters are thinner than they have ever been. But with thinner rosters means that some of the Group of 5 competition will be better because they will recruit guys and say, hey, look, Tulane is a great example. You are in the state of Louisiana. Louisiana State, very obviously the top dog there. And you could say, look, you can go to Louisiana State, have a hell of a time. You will not get playing time until your junior or senior year. You're probably going to redshirt at first. You're going to be practice squad, or you can come to Tulane. We'll pay you $500,000. You'll get playing time right away. Like that's going to be very enticing to guys. The other thing too, with the transfer portal, it is a lot, and a lot of the highlight comes from guy balls out at the group of 5 level, moves to the power 5. Diego Pavia, Darian Mensah, Devin Dampier, all of these guys, you see this happen all the time. But there's also the reverse side of that. Guy commits to a school thinking, man, I put up all state numbers at my high school, state champ, I'm him. You go to college, you're like, oh shit, I'm not that good. I'm not as good as I thought I was. I want to play. I don't, maybe this isn't for me. They go down a group of 5 and they are that guy there. So I think, I don't think it closes the gap as much as it blends. Schools who will do it right, schools who will do it correctly will be able to compete with Power 5 schools. Jacob, we're gonna discuss your comment on TikTok in a little bit because I appreciate you, brother. Carter asks, oh shit, I didn't ask about the Vanderbilt dark horse. Vanderbilt is not I don't know. I still don't think that they have the talent to win an SEC championship. However, they do have the schedule that could give them an opportunity to fight for a college football playoff spot. Now, do I think that they are good enough to do that? No. However, could they? Is it possible? Yes, which is truly insane to talk about. Carter, talk about some of the surprise and disappointing teams over the first 3 weeks and also the contenders for the Group of 5 playoff spots. So the Group of 5 playoff spots, my power rankings in order is off the dome. So, but might be a little different from whatever. Number 1, Tulane. I think they are in the best position. They already have Power 5 wins. They have Power 5 wins over Duke and Northwestern. If they run the table in the American Conference, that's theirs. They get the spot. The next one is I think that USF, despite the fact that they did get their ass beat by Miami looks to be very good. USF, you have a Power 5 win under your belt, and if you win the American Conference, you then will have beaten Tulane, which means that you have even another good win under your belt. I think that they would be my number 2. Number 3, I'm still going to stick with the American Conference here. I think it is going to be Memphis. I think if Memphis runs the table, they will have a very good shot. Memphis plays, I can't remember who Memphis plays off the top of my head. So we're going to Google it because that's, why not? We have the tools at our disposal. Yes, Memphis plays Arkansas this weekend. So that game, if Arkansas, they have to come to Memphis. It's a home game for Memphis. If Memphis wins that game at home, that sets them up very nicely. That if they win the American Conference, they will be the Group of 5 college football playoff contender. Other teams, UNLV, James Madison come to mind. Boise State, not totally out of it. If they, run the table in the Mountain West. So I don't think the Sun Belt will have a team. I mean, JMU's the best bet for that. I don't think the MAC will have a team, although I would think Ohio is probably the best bet for that conference. And then CUSA is, with all respect to CUSA, dog shit. So, yeah, I don't think they will have a member. So that is who I think will be the Group of 5 playoff spots. Some surprise teams, disappointing teams. Surprise team, I'm surprised by Vanderbilt. I thought that, they would get a little bit of a hangover from their success last year. They look great. Disappointing team, Texas, Notre Dame, Florida, but more specifically DJ Lagway. Quarterback play across the country, Garrett Nussmeier has not looked good. Arch Manning, Cade Klubnik, like a lot of guys have not looked good through the first couple of weeks. They've been disappointing. Kansas State, they were the tied with the best odds coming into the season to win the Big 12. They look like shit. They almost lost to an FCS school. Those have to be the most disappointing teams, in my opinion. Gessner, J39, does Nebraska have what it takes to beat Michigan at home? Yes. Yes, they have what it takes. I think Michigan's a little overrated. I think that One, I think Michigan's a little overrated, but I do think Nebraska, third year Matt Rule, their offense looks good. I think that Nebraska has the tools to do it. Now, will they? I think Michigan is the favorite in that game if I had to look. I don't know if they will or not. I haven't, really dove into that game. But do they have what it takes? That's the question, right? I think Nebraska absolutely has what it takes to beat Michigan at home. And what else? Thoughts on the Backyard Brawl last week? The Backyard Brawl, since it has come back, has consistently delivered incredible football games. I love great rivalries. I love regional rivalries. I love rivalries where both fan bases passionately hate each other. And the Backyard Brawl has all of that. West Virginia comes back to win that game. They looked better, which is quite frankly not what I thought. But I do love a great rivalry. And I think that is one that I have a bucket list of college football things that I would like to experience. And the Backyard Brawl is climbing higher and higher up on that list because, God damn it, it looks like such a fun time, especially when it's in West Virginia. And then Madison Curran, Auburn beats Oklahoma if they can rush for 200 yards. Oklahoma's secondary is not elite, good but not elite. Auburn's receivers are elite. If Venables has to stack the box and go single high safety to stop Auburn from running the ball, Jackson will torch them. If OU does stop the Auburn rushing attack, they will win the game 27-24. Auburn upsets OU. Madison, incredible prediction. As much as I like to think that Auburn has a shot to win this football game, because they do, right? I'm not going to sit here and say Auburn has no chance. And I don't like either of these coaches. I don't like Hugh Freeze. I don't like Brent Venables as a head coach. I love him as a defensive coordinator. I think that Jackson Arnold will get a little spooked. And coming against your own team or your old team, that is going to be a very, very tough thing to do mentally. I don't know if he is in the headspace to be able to do that. I love John Mateer. I think he is going to perform well in big games. I think that having been an established college football starter and seeing a lot of huge success statistically is great for OU. So I'm going to pick OU in that game. I think that they are the, quite frankly, better football team, but I think Auburn has a shot, right? I'm not going to say you have Cam Coleman, right? Like if he goes nuts, but I haven't seen it yet, right? And I think Auburn will need to move the ball down the field, throwing it in order to win this football game. Oklahoma stacked the box against Michigan. They put 8 men in the box and they said, Bryce Underwood fucking beat us. And they couldn't do it, right? Does Jackson Arnold have the ability to do that? Because I think Oklahoma comes in with a very similar game plan, right? I think they come in, they say they're there, and they go, stack 8 men in the box, right? Are you going to be able to get outside leverage? Can you run the outside zone? Can you hit the ball over the middle of the field, deep thirds? I don't know if Auburn has the ability to do that. Cam Coleman has the ability to win one-on-one matchups. There's no doubt in my mind that he can do that. But is that enough for Auburn to have a downfield passing attack that's good enough to beat Oklahoma? I don't think so. So that is it for the Instagram DMs. We're at a half hour on the podcast. I'm going to give TikTok my undivided attention for 5 minutes. Now, if you were watching the YouTube version or you were listening to the audio version of the podcast, as always, subscribe. I really appreciate it. It's the best way to help me out. If you were listening on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. But I want to give TikTok my undivided attention here because there have been some very good comments. Nebraska beating Michigan by 2 scores, I think, is a little bit of a stretch. I do like I like the confidence that Nebraska has coming into this game. Third-year Matt Rule. I love that Nebraska has the ability to stop the run, and they're going to need it in order to win this football game. They looked good against Cincinnati, and Cincinnati by no means is a bottom dweller of the Big 12. Now, I don't think they're a contender, but they did exactly what they needed to do. So I'm excited for that game. I think it's one of the premier games of the weekend. The Big 10 has a couple of really good matchups that I'm excited to watch. That that game, Indiana, Illinois. I'm very excited for Indiana, Illinois. I think that's going to be an incredible game. It's going to be a very, very fun weekend for Big Ten football. Another question, am I going to any games this year? And as of right now, I think I'm going to Notre Dame, Boise State. I'm hoping to get to a couple MAC games. So if there is a MAC school that really wants me to get in on some MACtion, please let me know. I would love to showcase your program, go to a game, show the MAC experience. I think that could be some really great content. And so any other questions from the TikTok chat? I've not seen an update on Lenore Sellers. Couple people. Hot take, Nebraska beats Michigan by 2 scores. We already talked about that. Underwood is way better than Jackson Arnold. I agree. Notre Dame over Alabama? No. And Alabama's had Notre Dame's number for a while now. But yeah, I'm excited for an incredible week of college football. As always, hit that subscribe button if you want to see any of my content, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I'm everywhere. Smash Hit Sports. Go give me a follow, and we will see you in the next one.